Hi guys. Today, we are going to know about psychoanalytic criticism. Come, let's get into the topic. Psychoanalytic criticism is the interpretative perspective of literature by applying some techniques of psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is a form of therapy propounded by the Austrian psychologist Sigmund Freud (1856–1939) in order to treat patients of hysteria and neurosis during the late 19th century. Psychoanalysis itself is a form of therapy which aims to cure mental disorder by investigating the interaction of conscious and unconscious elements in the mind. Psychoanalysis initially started as a therapeutic technique, but later expanded into the literary realm. Let's look at the life of Jacques Lacan, a French psychoanalyst, who has been an inspiration to many critics. He began his career by taking a medical degree and also gets training in psychiatry. He worked on paranoia. His famous theory mirror stage, presented at a conference in 1936. He was influenced by Claude Lévi-Strauss, Saussure and Jacobson. He gave a new emphasis on the unconscious, which is the nucleus of our being. Most important Lacanian text, The Insistence of the Letter, was delivered in 1957, to philosophy students. He begins the piece by emphasizing the superiority of language studies. Psychoanalysts must realize that the realm of truth is word. Language is central, because in investigating the unconscious, the analyst uses and examines language. Freudian psychiatry is entirely a verbal science. The unconscious is an orderly network, and it is as complex as language. The unconscious discovers the whole structure of language. Importance of the unconscious. Unconscious is structured like a language. How is language structured? Modern language studies tell that according to Saussure, language is a meaning and a matter of contrasts between words and other words. Its meaning has a network of differences. The barrier is between the signifier, the word, and the signified. A signifier has many signified. How is the unconscious linguistic? Let's first look into the metonymy and displacement. Metonymy is one thing which represents another and the part stands for the whole. Example, crown stands for the king. Displacement occurs in dream formation is not only of great theoretical interest. Displacement usually occurs in such a way that a colorless and abstract expression of the dream thought is exchanged for one that is pictorial and concrete. Displacement takes place in a dream which as a part represents the whole. Example, green vegetation while looking into the metaphor and condensation. Metaphor is used as a direct comparison. Example, he is a lion. Condensation means several things that are compressed into one. Example, the ship plowed the waves, which can be compared to plow cutting through the soil. Conscious and unconscious. The conscious self is the primary self. Unconscious is the kernel of our being. In Western philosophy, the conscious mind is the essence of selfhood. I think, therefore I am, can be changed to I am where I think not. In the unconscious, it lies the true selfhood. Thus unconscious is considered as the kernel of our being. It is like a language, where language exists as a structure before the individual enters into it. Since the unconscious is linguistic, and the language is complete before we enter into it. The idea of the separate self has been deconstructed. Then the idea of character becomes untenable. So the result of accepting Lacanian position rejects characterization in literature. According to him, the subject becomes a stable mixture of consciousness and novelistic characters as people cannot be accepted. They must be seen as assemblages of signifiers clustering round a proper name. Hence our reading strategy must be changed. Mirror stage. What do you mean by mirror stage? Before the I emerges, the baby exists in the imaginary where there is no difference between the self and other. The baby identifies itself with the mother. The child sees its reflection and forms its own image. The mirror stage is between 6 to 18 months. The imaginary becomes the internalized image of this ideal, whole, self and is situated around the notion of coherence rather than fragmentation. In the imaginary state, it's stated as prelinguistic and pre-Oedipal stage. The self has not formed. The child is free from desire and deprivation. In contrast to the imaginary, the symbolic involves the formation of signifiers and language and is considered to be the determining order of the subject. It is a post-linguistic stage where the sense of self has been formed. We can see the formation of ego or id. What Lacanian critics do? They pay attention to the unconscious and search for the subconscious as a kind of deconstruction. They demonstrate the mirror stage. They treat texts with Lacanian concepts like lack and desire. They give importance to the unconscious and the elusiveness of the signified. With this content, I end my video. See you soon in another video. Thank you.